Just into Fox News now, NYPD making 2 more arrests, illegal immigrants, and that attack on officers. Those suspects also allegedly stole an officer's cell phone.
You can see clearly.
A 5th illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
That the pro-lifers are wielding their assault hymns while they assume.
He was seen, as you can see, giving his 2 middle fingers to the cameras moments after being released without bail.
The extremely threatening crisscross applesauce sitting position. That's enough of that.
You know, when I see things like this, I don't know if there's any saving this place. You know, the deck is so stacked against good people, so stacked against law-abiding people, and criminals seem to almost be transitioning into some sort of protected class. It's like a civil rights movement for crime. And I just showed you 2 videos, right? One of illegal migrants welcomed into this country who immediately assaulted police officers, got released in New York City without even any bail, and have now fled the jurisdiction of New York. And then I showed you pro-life Christians singing a hymn in a public building that housed an abortion clinic. Now, guess which one of those things is a federal crime? And not just a federal crime, but a federal crime punishable by 11 years in prison. If you guessed singing and praying outside of an abortion clinic, well, you're right. Welcome to the destruction of America. And I just want to show you those horrible, horrible criminals one more time.
You can see clearly that the pro-lifers are wielding their assault hymns while they assume the extremely threatening crisscross applesauce sitting position. That's enough of that.
I mean, it's a depressing thing to even talk about, man, but that is a crime. And those people were just found guilty in a federal court, and they're awaiting sentencing. But I gotta say, man, you know, our federal government has 23,000 pages of over 3,000 laws. A lot of them ridiculous, every single one of them with egregious sentencing guidelines that almost handcuff a judge. And honestly, any one of those laws they can use to turn essentially anyone that they want into a bona fide convicted criminal. I mean, just to give you an idea, some of the more ridiculous ones, if you use Smokey Bear's picture without permission, that is a federal crime. If you transport dentures across state lines for sale, that is a federal crime. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, just because the law can doesn't mean the law should.
We're talking March 2021. And what happened was a group of pro-life folk from various walks in various states entered into this medical facility building where it was open to the public, where the abortion clinic was located on the 2nd floor. Some of them, a few, actually sat down in front of the door of the clinic, but most, like Paul Vaughn, my client, they were out in the hallway. They were singing, they were praying. They spoke to a couple of abortion-minded women. Paul himself interacted at some length with the police and actually helped diffuse an otherwise pretty tense situation. Turns out the local police had never encountered a pro-life protest before, so they really didn't know what to expect. And Paul was able to help them resolve this matter in an entirely peaceful way. Well, as you know, in June 2022, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe against Wade. And the Biden administration effectively declared war on pro-lifers. So a year and a half after this event, they send armed FBI agents in great number out to Paul's home in the middle of rural Middle Tennessee and banged on a door, drew their guns on him and arrested him and took him away and charged him with the face violation that we went to trial on this last week.
Well, tell us exactly where we are right now in this case and what comes next.
Yeah, Paul is still out on his own recognizance, thankfully. The sentencing is set for July the 2nd, so we have a little time before then. And after that, we fully intend to appeal and argue several legal issues as well as some factual ones, including our contention that the FACE Act itself, Tracy, is unconstitutional. Never should have been passed in the first place. But certainly after Roe was overturned, there's no longer an abortion interest, so-called federal right there to be protected. And so what you have instead is this weird little provision that turns an otherwise everyday kind of sit-in event that is a criminal misdemeanor on a local basis into this major federal production. And moreover, what you have here is what we believe is for the first time in the history of our nation, the federal government taking a felony conspiracy statute, so-called conspiracy against rights, and applying it against peaceful protesters like Paul Vaughn. That's where you get the 10 years, and then it's only 6 months for the face violation itself. So this is a purely punitive political persecution here. This is not about justice. This is about sending a terrorism kind of message to Paul Vaughn and other pro-lifers. Don't you dare mess with abortion.
I don't even know what to say about that, man. God bless those people, right? I mean, if you scroll through any of the left-wing echo chambers online, the left these days, they really do seem to hate Christians. And I'm sorry, man, but even if you were bothered by someone praying outside of a place that essentially deals in death, I don't really have any other way to put it. Whether you support that death or you don't support that death, whether you think that that death option is really just as clean and as simple as reproductive rights, right? Even if that is your position, I cannot imagine that any reasonable person believes that the person praying outside of that place should be facing over a decade in prison. The same federal prison and the same reasonable people, by the way, that were excited and completely giddy about alleged gun criminal and alleged tax cheat Hunter Biden not having to go to that prison for his crimes. This is just wrong on so many levels. It's wrong on every single level, man. And again, just because the government can doesn't mean the government should. But that's just my take, guys. Thought you deserved to see that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't already, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.